One thing you can comment on though is the Olympic Refuge Foundation. So, non-government organisation that was founded in September 2017. So relatively recent, by the International Olympic Committee, and they're based in Switzerland. As I said, you're the co-chairman for the think tank on sport and displacement settings there. Tell us, we just spoke about youth being an at-risk population. How are displaced youth refugees impacted by post-traumatic stress? And what kind of work are you doing with this foundation?
Yeah, so the ORF, I'm really excited to be able to talk about this. So the ORF came, or the Olympic Refuge Foundation, if we think back to Rio in 2016, there was the first time that we had refugee athletes participating under the banner of the Olympic refugee team. And the ORF was set up to support the refugee athletes, but also to provide advocacy and work around the role of sport in displacement settings. Now, we have over 100 million people displaced globally at the moment. And that, if you look at world events and what's happening in the Middle East now, I mean, this is not, this is getting worse. And there's also the impact of climate crisis. And I mean, human displacement, forced displacement is an enormous issue. Um, my interest in this area came from work I've done in Bangladesh, working in the Rohingya refugee camps, which is the biggest refugee camp in the world, and seeing firsthand the benefits and the importance of sport, even in these, extremely in these communities living in extremely adverse conditions. Closer to home, if we think about Australia, think about when there's natural disasters and how communities often mobilise around, arranging sausage sizzles at the local park or something, or what happens there, the way community gets together. Sport is a part of that, kicking a football around, the impact on children that it can have, and the fact that sport is this transcultural thing. And I've sort of used this line that if you give a kid a ball, they're going to kick it and they're going to look for a friend to kick it to. And I think that sums up actually the power and value of sport. So the ORF, obviously through the Olympic brand and Reach, is doing fantastic work in this area, not only supporting the Olympic refugee athletes, but also in programs all around the world, but also in providing leadership and advocacy and tools and guidance around how we can utilize sport in humanitarian and displacement contexts as part of the mental health strategy. And what's been really interesting for me is seeing the recognition within the mental health world around sport, and how that's now changing, and we're seeing tools and guidance, and I don't think where I think it's going to go, and where I see it heading, is that you will have, as part of a mental health team working in humanitarian or crisis environments, you will have a sport specialist as part of that team who understands how to utilize sport in a safe way, to focus on participation, not on competition, which has been the traditional focus, to focus on groups who don't have access, people like women in a lot of these environments don't have access. Yet people living with disabilities, there's lots of scope and lots of room for us to do more.
Yeah, we spoke about before we came on air again about the 10 scholarships that have been offered to 10 refugees to train towards the Paris Olympics in 2024. Now, do you see yourself playing a hand in any potential success stories at the Paris Olympics?
No, no, I wish I did. No, so I don't work with the athletes. So my role is through the think tank,
Yep.
which is focused on, again, the tools and resources, the guidance, the advocacy work, but really looking at how we utilize sport in humanitarian settings.
Yep.
The athletes are obviously the ones with the incredible stories, and again, we've talked a lot about knowledge and different types of knowledge. And those athletes with lived experience of forced displacement just have these incredible stories to share that can be so powerful and motivating and inspiring for people all over the world.